Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. I like this, boys and girls. You never have a chance to say that. So now I have a chance to say that. You already know. Oh, Maya, I see that. Oh my gosh. Where's Lana? Lana here? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I was born in Poland. You already know that. In a shtetl. How many know what a shtetl is? Everybody knows. Small town. It's in Yiddish. By the way, you should know that English is my 7th language. And I was 20 years old when I started learning English. When I came to America in 1951, I didn't know any English whatsoever. So which are the languages? All right, I'll give it, you don't have to guess, okay? My first language was Yiddish. Second language was Polish. Third language was Ukrainian. Then Russian, that's number 4. And of course, I should say, in the meantime, I went to a cheder, so I learned Hebrew. So that's number 5. Then Russian. And then German. And then English. Did I come up with 8? No.
You said Russian.
I missed my what?
You said Russian.
Russian, I said it twice. See? Boy, you guys are sharp. All right. So, all of this started when I was 10 years old, as far as my starting to lead an abnormal life. Up until I was 10, things were pretty normal. But after 10, all hell broke loose. Why? World War II. How many of you know when World War II started?
1939.
Ari, huh?
1939.
1939, that is correct. September 1st, 1939. At that time, I was only 8 years old. But then Poland was, as you know, was defeated, okay, by the Germans, which were the Nazis, right? And Poland was divided into 2, between Hitler and Stalin, between Germany and the Soviet Union. I was under the Soviet Union for 2 years, until 41. So that's why in 41, that's when all hell broke loose for me, because we decided to flee. When I say we, it's my dad. If you remember if you read the preface, you remember that my mother didn't want to leave the little shtetl. Okay, so Hitler, so I want to go back to make sure I'll give you some dates too. June 22nd, Hitler attacked Stalin, or Germany attacked the Soviet Union. It was the 22nd of June, 1941. 6 days later, we fled. So my mother didn't want to go. So picture this. I'm 10 years old. I know all of you now, they're older than that. You're what now, 11, 14? 11, 14. That's exactly the years when my problems started. I mean, really problems. So imagine an evening dinner, having dinner. My brother and I, there are only 2 of us, my brother and I am 10 years old, my brother's 15 years old. Mother and dad are having a discussion, a very heated discussion. What was the discussion about during dinner? My dad says, we must leave today. And mother says, we're not going anywhere. Do you see anybody leaving? But my dad says, but the Germans are almost here. They are going to come, and we are going, the Jews will be in big trouble. And she says, do you see anybody else leaving? No, that's true. But I know better, my dad says. I know they're going to kill us. And the Germans come here, they're going to kill us. I'll be the first one. Why? Because my dad was in the police force during that time when the Russians occupied our part of Poland. He decided to become a policeman, and he was a policeman for 2 years, and they will look for a Jewish policeman and they're going to kill me. So therefore, I must flee. But you must come with me and take the 2 children, which is myself, 10-year-old, my brother, Mordechai, or Mark, or Munje. You remember the name Munje from the book?
Yeah.
Let's go together. Mother says, no, I don't want to go. My family is here. And we had a big family. You know how big it was? Can you imagine? From my mother's side, there were 8 children in the family. My father's side, there were 9 children in the family. And they were all married with children. So I had cousins and uncles and aunts. And of course, I had my grandfather. My grandmother was already dead at the time, but my grandfather was alive. He was exactly the age of 70 at the time. That's when I started writing the book, at the same time. He was. So now, Mother says, this is a big family, we're going to stay together. So how many do you think were in the family? I once added them all up. Now these are, how many would you guess?
48.
How many?
No.
48,
More.
45.
About around
Close
100.
to 100.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? That's how many we were. Close family. And Mother insisted we're not going. This was a big, and of course, when parents argue, children don't like to hear it. They don't want to listen to it, right? And so I also felt very badly, but I knew what Dad was right, because he was always right. And finally, he talked her into going. He says, I have a horse and buggy ready, and we're going to go, take the horse and buggy, and the only thing that happened in between time, after supper, our neighbor came over. His name was Mr. Friedman, and he had 6 children, 2 girls and 4 boys. The 4 boys were older than us. Their boys started from 18 to 24. And he says, I saw the horse and buggy out there. I think that you're leaving tonight, aren't you? To my dad. And Dad says, absolutely, we're going. And Mother finally, after he gave her the ultimatum, if you don't go, I go without you. You can stay with the kids, or I can take the kids, whatever you want. I'm not staying. This was June 28th, 1941. So he said, my neighbor said to my dad, would you please take my boys with you? From 18 to 24, none of them married. Because I also feel very badly. I think we are going to be in trouble here if we stay. So Dad didn't like the idea, we were thinking about, there'll be, instead of 4 of us, there'll be 8 of us on a horse and buggy. Open wagon, it wasn't a covered wagon. And he finally said, okay, we'll take them. And it was good. By the way, every one of those survived, every 4 of them survived. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, I just want to tell you. So we got on the horse and buggy, 11 o'clock at night.